Sneaky Snakes and Kangaroos, live stream number 28. Welcome, everyone. Welcome to the Blues Party.
Jimmy Reed, Big Boss Man, one of the first songs I ever learned. Now, speaking of one of the first songs I ever learned, is Down in the Bottom by Willie Dixon and Howlin Wolf. Actually, Sam Lay played on the recording. Now, before there was even the Siegel Schwall Band, this is one of the songs that I played with Jim Schwall. When I had a bass drum here under the piano, a hi-hat, I have a stick, and I play here with the stick, and I play with the harmonica. Anyway, this is Down to the Bottom, and this is how we played it. Now, boom, chick, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick, boom, chick. You know, pretty cool. So, for young little kids, you know. So I played it this way: 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, now meet me in the bottom, bring me my running shoes. So 1, 2, 3, 4. that's the way I played it. So Howlin Wolf, is, you may have heard from other stories, comes to sit in with Siegel and Mother Blues in Chicago, 1966. And he sits in with us, and he sits in on Down in the Bottom, and he sings Down in the Bottom. And then he tells us later, you know, I love the way you play Down in the Bottom. He said, but I have to tell you, you're playing it backwards. Well, it wasn't until this year that I decided to try and learn to play it forwards. And I'm going to show you the difference. It's still a struggle for me, because once you know, the way I learned was really by doing things over and over and over and over and by rote. And it gets locked in, and then trying to do it where everything is a half beat later is pretty difficult. But this is the way I used to do it. I'm going to show you the difference. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the heavy is on the downbeat. Down, 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 right? Yeah, okay. So the way I think, and I'm not even sure about this, I'm supposed to do it is 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So the dun is already upbeat. 1 and da dun and da 1 and. Really different. It's really beautiful, but it's a struggle for me to do that still. I'll have to learn it someday, but that's how I'm going to do it. Oh, and I should show you. So, and I can't share this story too many times. I could tell you every string. I would have no problems with it. Wolf says, I love your band. I love my band more. But I love you guys, and please come on the road with me. So we went on the road with Howlin Wolf and his band. And I have to show you the picture. This is just the turn of the year. Instead of 66, now it's 67. We're on the road with Wolf. And this is backstage at the Cafe A Go-Go in New York. David Clayton Thomas asked me to sit on Howlin Wolf's knee. And Michael Oakes, Phil Oakes' brother, took this picture, January 1967. Unbelievable. I can't show this picture enough. I have 3 pictures from the 60s that are iconic. Nothing else. It's all I own, and this is one of them. So I can't show it too many times. But anyway, that's that. So I'll do about Down on the Bottom. The old way, the way I used to do it. That was the first time I ever tried doing it the correct way.
Oh.
I hit it a couple times. Okay, I think it's story time.
It is indeed.
Yeah, I think I'm going to let Holly take over this part.
Okay. All right.
Okay, pirouette. You can do a pirouette too.
All right.
Pirouette. Whee! And you got your notes there.
Yes, I do. So,
Oh, wait.
we're showing your neck.
That is so strange.
So
I don't know what I was looking at.
This is actually a photo of Corky as a little boy with his sister, and he tells me that was not several hours from the home. That was walking distance when there were trees and fields and woods and all right near 80th and Euclid. Who knew? So that's Corky and the reason we're showing that is this is going to feature our brother-in-law Malcolm and sister, Corky's sister, my sister too, in Australia. And so it's more wonderful tales of Down Under. And we were there 4 times thus far, and 2015 was our last visit there.
And this was with the Auckland.
And what brought us to the other side of the globe were 2 concerts. One was with Maestro Eckhart Steer and the New Zealand, the Auckland Philharmonic Orchestra. And,
Do we have a picture of Eckhart?
Yes, we do.
Okay, good.
And so, that is, and that is the poster for the concert. There was another wonderful soloist who joined, Julian Bliss. He's a fantastic clarinetist. And that's the hall. That's the big concert hall where the symphony plays in Auckland. And there's Eki. There's Maestro Eki. That was our last tea together before we departed for Australia.
And originally we did 9 concerts in Germany with Eki. He had such a good time when he took over for the Auckland Orchestra. He invited
us down.
So let's see what's next.
It was great fun. And then Jo Selleck, who is one of the celebrated, she's a national treasure of Australia. She's a phenomenal, she's a fantastic flutist. She's also a phenomenal composer, and that's Jo with her flute. And she wrote a blues piece for Corky that mixed the sounds of Australia and the national treasures of Australia.
It was also a very avant-garde piece.
And it was a difficult piece. It was an avant-garde piece.
And I helped her a little with it, so she gave me credit for writing it, but she was really the composer.
And that's Namatjira. Namatjira is a didgeridoo player from the Outback. He's a phenomenal player. And that is Joe Kindamo. And I know many of you out there, music fans, know Joe Kindamo. He has performed at Carnegie Hall. He's certainly a national treasure of Australia. He's a gifted player on piano as well as.
Okay, there's that's Joe. And there's our didgeridoo player.
Correct, and that's with the orchestra.
Rehearsal. And that's the recital hall.
That's the recital hall. It's really quite beautiful. It's an extraordinary, modern, phenomenal architectural music hall. And that is the sold-out concert with the group. That's Namatjira actually had painted this. And it was a parting gift, and that's he on his didgeridoo, that's Jo on her flute, and Corky on harmonica. So it was just a wonderful gift, wonderful time. And this is our family, of course, and there's Corky and I, and there's his sister Joy, and that's Malcolm. And this...
This is home movie time.
This is Geoffrey Rush. And Geoffrey Rush, of course, is an Academy Award-winning actor. And they had a chance meeting, Joy and Malcolm, with Jeffrey Rush, and Joy said, "Oh, Mr. Rush, we really love your performances, your work, and I'd like to introduce you to Malcolm because people often stop him at airports and everywhere and tell him, confuse him with you, and when he says no, it's not the actor, I'm not the actor, they say, well, you look exactly like Geoffrey Rush." And he stopped. Jeffrey stopped and he looked Malcolm up and down, then reached out and shook his hand while saying with a big smile, "I hope that's a compliment to both of us." So
anyway,
our wonderful brother-in-law Malcolm, he is the epitome of the stay calm and carry on British style. He's centered, kind. We adore him, and he thoroughly loves a good laugh, which our adventures or misadventures seem to have provided in endless quantities. And we want to share with you a couple such stories.
Okay, so hang on to this, and I'm going to explain something before I start the video. So, well, if you show the video, I'm about to start it. So, the particular events of the story were described to Malcolm and placed before him such great detail and emotion that he, as the calm, objective party, was the best one to tell this story, even though he wasn't there in person. In fact, the details were described to him so vividly and intensely that he is able to tell the story as if he were at the scene himself. In fact, as you watch him recall the story, you will see he actually believes he was at the scene, until, of course, I remind him that he was the calm one sitting at home. So enjoy this one.
I really should say g'day, otherwise you just won't believe I'm Australian. Okay, I wanted to tell a story about one of Corky and Holly's memorable trips to Australia. There have been several memorable trips, and I must say, very memorable. But this incident happened not far from our house in Warrandyte, suburb of Melbourne. We were walking along the riverbank. There's quite a steep slope to the road above, which was probably about 20, 30 foot above us, and a narrow track along the riverbank. Joy was leading. It's a single file track, quite narrow, and there's bush around. There's the river on one side and basically a bushy cliff on the other side. And Joy was leading. We got to this point where she said, where she remembered there was a wombat hole. The wombat is another native Australian, being described as furry rocks on feet. Anyhow, so there was this wombat hole below a rock. And Joy was leading. She points out the wombat hole to Holly, who bent down, put a hand on the rock, and bent down to look at this wombat hole. As she did, this shape, which happened to be a mature tiger snake, launched itself from the rock above Holly, went across in front of her eyes, landed on the bank and fell into the river. Now, Holly went, and she levitated onto the road about 30 foot above us. And I didn't see anything. Corky, I don't think saw anything. Joy saw it. And Holly certainly did. I didn't quite get the sense of what was happening until we got onto the road and caught up with Holly, and she caught her breath. And yes, it was an interesting situation. Snake. I think, I don't know how many times she repeated, snake. But they are reputed to be able to kill something like 52 sheep or something like that. We don't measure our snakes by the number of sheep they can kill, but that one was quite deadly, as a lot of them are. You know. So that was an experience.
Snake, snake, snake. She said.
The end of the story was you were home, and it was Joy and Holly and I, and we got home, and Holly was wondering if the snake was poisonous, and you had her describe it. She described it, and you said, "Oh, if that snake had bit you, you'd been fucked, mate."
You would have been, mate.
So that's one story. The next one is about me. This time I'm not getting bitten by a snake, but I think I'm getting bitten by a kangaroo if you think about it. Let me get it for you guys. You'll love this. Okay, go to kangaroo. Are you ready? Go for it, Malcolm.
They've been here several times, and we were all arriving back from New Zealand. As I said, this would have been about the third or fourth time that Holly and Corky had been to Australia. And so we hired our local driver, who's very trustworthy and knows the local area, and is always on time waiting for us at the airport. And sure enough, there he was. Clive was there waiting for us. We all piled into his van. And it was late at night, middle of winter, quite cold. And so we're driving home. It's normally about an hour drive from the airport to Warrandyte. And halfway home, as we're getting into the more bushy areas of Melbourne, the outskirts of Melbourne, Clive sort of didn't go the normal route. The normal route, I think you say in America. He sort of veered off into the bush somewhat. So we're driving along, and Joy and I are looking at each other and thinking, this is a long way around, and the roads are getting narrower and windier. We're going around corners and these narrow, bushy roads, and Corky's sitting in the front, and we all probably know he has a little bit of a travel motion sickness problem. So the windier it gets, the greener he's getting. He's getting quite green sitting in the front door until he actually had to call a halt. He had to say to Clive, "Stop, wind down the window, we've got to get fresh air." He was about to turn himself inside out.
And we asked Clive why.
And so we asked Clive why he'd come this way through the bush and the long way around, and he said, "Well, it's the time of the evening the kangaroos are out. And there's been a lot of kangaroos around this area before, and I thought I'd show your American friends some kangaroos."
Not knowing that you'd seen many, many kangaroos while you were here for 3 times.
Well, Corky, we did make it back home after several stops and some deep breaths of fresh, freezing air. We did make it home, and as we pulled up out the front of the house, there was the biggest kangaroo we've seen, I think, sitting in the driveway next to our house and looking at us and going, "Where have you guys been?" I've been waiting here for you all night. Yeah, that was another one. But, you know.
Great. Okay, I'm gonna use Mr. Stan here. Hook this up, see if this works.
So that was one of our many adventures in Australia, and we adore them both, and hope to see them soon after the big lockdown.
So
Thank you for
I'll
joining
tell you
us.
what's going on behind the camera. Holly is focused on the screen, and I'm giving her signals. Turn it up, turn it up. And then Holly is giving me directions. You gotta get rid of the play button. So all of this is going on behind the camera you guys don't know about. But we're gonna sign off, but first, as usual, I'm going to put up a Zoom, so all of you here in about 10 minutes from now, depending how quickly I get it up, you can go to corkymusic.com/stream. corkymusic.com/stream, and I will get a link to our Zoom up there so you could all join us on Zoom. Let's see, some other words from our sponsors. It's okay, yeah, we can hold it up. Yeah, so these are the 2 CDs. This features Howlin that was from last year. The last stream. It seems like a year ago. This is
Howlin from a...
no, down in the bottom.
Oh, down in the
down in the bottom is on here. Now this one is a box set from Vanguard where they included all the tunes and a number of tunes from the 2-man band before Siegel Schwall. And I only have a few of these left. It's out of print now. So
It's a rare
yeah.
commodity.
So anyway, there you go. So we did that. The other thing is we are about to launch in July our 2-album project crowdfunding. And so you could just go to corkymusic.com and it'll take you right there. It's funneling everyone right in where I want them. And so let's see what else. Oh yes, in terms of all the comments and everything, after we do the Zoom, after we have lunch, after we take an hour walk, I'm going to come back and answer all the comments or any questions and everything on this Facebook feed, and then I'm going to put it up on YouTube, so if anyone loses it on Facebook, they could always get it on YouTube by going to corkymusic.com/stream. Okay, so now.
But we want to give a special shout out to Barbara Marks. She's a family member of Howlin Wolf, and we hold you all in our hearts. We give a shout out to the Lay family, and again, we wish you health and safety.
And Jacqueline Dixon, who asked me to speak about current events and politics, which I did at the last stream. And if you didn't see it, Jacqueline, you could get it on YouTube. What's it called? Do you know? I don't remember what it's called. My memory, again, is a thing of the past. So I'm going to sign off with this poem that I wrote. I finished it like 10 minutes before we went on live. 10 minutes. I started it about 20 minutes before that. And I felt this was just a current event. And you could get in front so you could finish when I'm finished. Because we want to make this really flow well. We want to, I'll finish the poem. We'll say goodbye and you'll press the finish button. Okay, here we go, guys, the poem. It's called, Holly titled this poem. It's called The Gift That Keeps on Giving. Here we go. This is the poem. It's sort of, we're wrapping this up. This isn't exactly a rap. It's more of a poem, but we could say we're wrapping this up and be very accurate. I protested the war in Vietnam because lives were being lost in vain. So I ask everyone to wear a mask. The reason is just the same. Showing a face doesn't mean you're smart or brave. It shows you don't know the facts. It doesn't protect you as much as it protects others. You see, you give it to them, they catch it. You give it to them, they catch it. They give it to their sister. She gives it to someone else's brother. Like you, they have no mask. They might offer a brisk and loud hello to your mother. For mother's sake, Is this the gift you want to give? Is this the risk you want to take by neglecting a simple task? Instead, offer the world your gift of a mask. Thank you, everyone. We love you. Please take care.
Stay
Of
safe
each other.
out there.
Take care of each other.